Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. This is a reading for Virgo rising, or if you have significant Virgo placements in your chart and are needing a neutral energy to harmonize masculine and feminine energies, then this reading is for you. So Virgo, your reading today is very intense. Is kind of how it's feeling. There's a lot of fiery energies in this reading. And I feel like there's a really significant change coming in for you, and it may actually be causing you to feel anxiety about it. Because it was just feeling like, anyways, we'll get into the cards to sort of explain what it is that I'm feeling for this reading. But we're starting off here with these cards, the Tarantula and the Dragonfly. The Tarantula is so interesting because I really love this card. It's talking about a feeling of insecurity in terms of your base or your foundation, right? Like could have to do with like your home, your safety, that kind of thing. It's feeling on the spot or in a potentially risky situation is kind of how this is feeling because of because of circumstances outside of your control. Some aspect of your safety has been compromised, right? It's like a spider that's just lost its web. But then you have here the dragonfly, which I love so much because this is talking about spirit guidance that's supporting you and sort of leading you in the right direction. Though I feel like for you, Virgo, the guidance is actually to sit still and sit tight because it feels like there's a significant amount of assistance that's on the way for you, is kind of how this is feeling, and I'll explain why this is coming in. Because I feel like you're wanting to act is kind of how this is feeling, right? With the tarantula, it gives this sort of feeling of like urgency or just like feeling at risk, right? Like it's like you're needing to do something to change this energy of how you feel, how this feeling of discomfort, right? But it's kind of like, I feel like what the guidance is actually saying is to sit tight. And you have here the portal for the time loop and the portal for the inner being. So the time loop talks about this is a thing that you've seen before. This is a challenge that you've seen before that feels like it's repeating and you can't quite get out of it. That's sort of what this energy is talking about. So it's like, I feel like you're familiar with this energy. You've been here before is kind of how this is feeling. And I feel like now is the time that this cycle or whatever it is actually going to be broken. And with the inner being here is just to like really tune in to your energy because there's a lot going on around you that may feel like there's a lot sort of coming to you that's not yours, but you may not be seeing that, right? Like you may be feeling like, anyways, I'll get into why I'm saying that. It's kind of just like really practicing and being in this energy of what is your energy and what's external to you. Because right now there's a lot of energy that's external to you that's coming in, and it kind of feels like that might be putting you on edge or making you feel anxious or like you need to move or like you need to do something. But that's an energy that's outside of you is kind of what I'm feeling for this. Just so interesting because you have these cards. So you have the King of Wands, and I feel like this is the external energy. They're coming in with a lot of fire. You have the Ace of Cups, but with a lot of love as well, right? So it's a very supportive energy. And then the Knight of Wands, Page of Wands. So all of these like Wands actions, they're coming in. So it's either multiple energies or it's just one energy that is coming in with a lot of action. Because in your cards today, you're coming out the Queen of Wands in a different deck, but it's all of this energy. You're the Queen of Wands, Virgo. Which means in terms of the feminine energies, you're being asked to wait and just sit still and for this energy to come through because it's it's a lot. It's a lot. And I feel like I don't know exactly what it is, but it feels, it just feels like support, or it could be even like a guide or something like that. Because as I was just sitting in meditation before this reading, it was just like, there was so much energy. And I feel like for you, the guidance is to, like, first of all, you don't have to do this alone, because I feel like there is this energy of like, whatever challenge it is that you're facing right now feels like you are needing assistance. But I feel like you're so determined to do it independently, or to like, whatever it is, it's like you're trying to solve this problem on your own. And it's like the guidance, what I was hearing is just like, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. And I feel like there is somebody coming in for you, whoever this King of Wands is, or it might not even be a person, right? It might just be like spiritual support, though I feel like it may be embodied in some way. Anyways, we're going to get through the cards. That's just the context of the reading. There's a lot there, and I kind of don't want to go through all of. Anyways, so you're coming out with the Gazelle. This is your energy, absolutely. All of the cards here that you have for your current energy they're all fire, which is talking about a significant transformation is happening. And like, you have all of these cards. So at this point, it was like, these were the dominant energies. These were the dominant energies. These cards came out first. And because of all of this fire and spirit, the cheetah, the dragon, the phoenix, and the tiger, all of this fire, this is the King of Wands, whoever or whatever this is. It could even be spirit. And at this point, I asked, like, is this Virgo's energy? And it was, these two cards came out together, which is clearly telling me, no, this is your energy. You're the Gazelle. You're the one who is actually attracting this energy to come forward with the elephant, because this card talks about destroying obstacles. So if you've been encountering any sort of obstacle, you've put out a call perhaps, or you've asked the universe just broadly for assistance in this, whether or not you've actually verbalized that or not, or like are conscious of it or aware of it. It's like, because you're facing this challenge, all of this supportive energy is coming in. And it's so interesting that there's 5, right? There's 5 cards to represent this energy. And it's kind of like, whenever I'm going through like a significant transformation, or I'm having to like make a change, the energy of, I feel like 5 energies surrounding me, right? So 5, of course, is the energy of change, but it kind of feels like spirits, or like, now this like weird light thing is happening in my eye right now. Sorry, I got distracted by it. It's like there's like spirits helping you. 5 of them maybe, that are just coming in to support you in whatever this transformation is, whatever this change is, because it feels like they're trying to support you overcome some sort of challenge that you've been dealing with, that you've been routinely, or like, you've seen this problem before and you haven't been able to break through it. And it's like, this is coming in to help you. All of this sort of spiritual support is how I'm seeing it. Because this combination of cards came out with the portal for the past lives. So I'm seeing this. If you've watched the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, the past lives being like, I feel like you are like the avatar, right? The one who can sort of channel all the elements or whatever. And the past lives are all the previous incarnations of the avatar that Aang, the main character, was able to draw on, right? He was able to draw on their wisdom, their experiences, the solution, or like the problems that they were able to overcome when they were the avatar. So it's kind of like something like that, where it's like, there's been so much like past life energy recently. In the last couple of readings, there's something about perhaps like your past lives, or just like, if it's not that, just some sort of, it feels very spiritual, support that's coming in to help you in whatever this challenge is. because I feel like you're at the, it's just this reading is very intense. It was very, very, very intense. These cards came out. Sorry, I have a lot of cards for your reading today. The Eight of Wands, the Devil, and the Strength card. All of these came in together, right? The Devil is just representing whatever challenge it is that you're currently facing, whatever that is. It doesn't feel like a person. It doesn't feel like a person. It feels like something that you've been trying to overcome, right? And with the Strength card, it's like you are absolutely doing that, right? The Strength card is the only card that can overcome the Devil, right? It's like changing some sort of pattern, perhaps a pattern within yourself or something like that. You're overcoming it, but it's like with the Eight of Wands coming in, because people always say that this is like a lot of communication, but I rarely experience the Eight of Wands like that. But it could be like spirit communication, right? It could be something like that, or just like a lot of insight, a lot of intentions, a lot of energy, a lot of support to come in and help you with whatever this thing is, because you don't have to do it alone is what this is talking about. That's what your whole reading is. You don't have to do this alone. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're trying to solve, because again, you have here the Queen of Wands and the Moon, and this Moon energy is so interesting because underneath that was the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, and then the Eight of Cups, right? It's like you're walking away from a very significant cycle in terms of, it's swords, right? It's so interesting. I've been thinking about this combination of cards a lot, because the Ten of Swords often talks about like the dark night of the soul, right? Like something, but it's very much something physical, which is kind of interesting because it's swords. It's all about mind space, or like your thoughts, your mental, like what it is that you're thinking about. But everyone experiences this Ten of Swords as a very physical experience, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like there's a lot of anxiety. Perhaps there's been this sort of like dark night of the soul moment where it's just like you're feeling at the end of something, of whatever this challenge is. It's like you've been trying to overcome this problem for a really long time, it feels like. But it's like you can't, but it's almost like you have to get to this point, which is difficult. It's a difficult message to say, that you have to, you almost like, because if you were to, the Nine of Swords is not the end of the journey, right? It's like if you've been feeling anxiety or something like that, there's a reason. There's this thing is causing the anxiety. It's almost like you have to get to this point because this is the ending. This is the, and perhaps you were avoiding that. Perhaps that's why it's a time loop. It's because you perhaps weren't willing to go to this part. It's like you had to end this. You had the time loop being like, it's an energy that you can't break free of. And it's because perhaps you were just stuck here for a really long time. You were just stuck here in the anxiety portion. But you actually have to go into the Ten of Swords in order to break free of that energy, if that makes sense. It's kind of like you, which is a really interesting and difficult message to deliver, because you actually have this Ten of Swords twice, right? Because it kind of feels like you actually have to go through this ending, whatever this is, in order to break free of the cycle, in order to walk away from it. And I feel like that's perhaps the difficulty, is that perhaps you haven't been able to break free of this energy because you weren't willing to go this far in the past, if that makes sense. And I don't know what that means in terms of like the Ten of Swords. I'm not saying that there's any sort of like dark night energy. It could be, but it's like whatever it is that you've been feeling anxious about, it's like one step further than that. I have no idea like how that's going to play out for you, but it's like, I feel like the guides are here, whatever that fiery energy is, especially with this elephant, right? Because it's like, they're bringing you light. They're bringing you light, or like, especially if you're in an energy of darkness, or difficulty or whatever it is, they're bringing you light so that you can see what the next step is. Because it's kind of like you have to take that final step in order for the cycle to be broken. And it's like, I feel like up until this point, all the previous times you've gone through this cycle, you haven't been willing to take that final step, right? Perhaps you, like with the Nine of Swords, it's like the anxiety became too much and so you backed away from it. You went back into an energy of safety. And it's like, in order to break this cycle, you actually have to take one more step into the darkness, if that makes sense. And that's such a difficult message to deliver, because I have no idea how this is going to play out for you, right? I don't know like what this darkness represents. It could actually be most likely it's very, very difficult, but I feel like what's on the other side of that is all of this, right? The Four of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Two of Wands. So the Hanged Man, I feel like it's almost like a surprise party, right? It kind of feels like something like, because I personally, I don't like surprises. They maybe perhaps because like I can feel something, right? Like I don't know. It's like it's dark. It's completely dark. You stepped into this environment that's just darkness, and like you can sense that there's energies there, right? That you're not alone in the darkness. But it's like, if you were willing to take one more step forward, it's like, this is what's in the darkness. It's all of this light. And it's kind of like this energy here is almost asking you to like sit tight, to sit through the anxiety or the worry or whatever it is. It's like, don't run from this. Don't run. You're not alone. But it's all of this positive energy. It's all of this like celebration. Something really lovely is going to surprise you, is what this is feeling like. And it's kind of like, as I was saying here with the Ten of Swords, perhaps you're anticipating this Ten of Swords, right? That it's going to be the end, that you're not going to recover from this, which is not true at all. That's not true at all. What's actually happening is there's some sort of like surprise or celebration waiting for you on the other side if you are willing to take one more step. The next couple of cards here is like you actually have the Moon twice, right? You have the Moon twice. So you have the Six of Pentacles, which I feel like is actually talking about, well, it's of course talking about reciprocity, right? But it's kind of like, I feel like it's talking about trust. Like if you have trust in your guides, in your guidance and all of that, that there is some sort of reward for that. If not reward, it's some sort of surprise, because you have the Moon twice, right? Which is talking about a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of like, what if, or separation, or like feeling lost, that kind of energy. But what's so interesting here is that you have, this is what this Moon energy might be, because you have all of this fiery energy. I've been talking about temperance so much in the last couple of readings, because there's been so much fire, there's been so much transformation that's been happening. And with this Moon energy, because the Moon is water, right? It's kind of and water coming in to sort of soothe or temper the fire. I feel like you may be feeling this Moon energy in order to balance this change, right? It's like to temper the change, because I feel like you, Virgo, are actually not the one who's supposed to be acting in this, right? You're not supposed to be doing anything to but you may be feeling that way, that you may have to do something or change something, because you're feeling or sensing the energies that are coming in, the energies that are changing. It's like all you have to do is trust your guidance and just sit still, is kind of how this is feeling. Because it's kind of like once the light turns on, right? Once the thing is revealed, once this elephant brings you the fire, you're going to see this angel here, right? The Temperance card, because it's like, this is the same scene, right? This is the scene in the darkness where it's like you're confused, you don't know what's going on. Somebody has led you into this like strange place where you can't see anything, and then the lights suddenly flick on and there's a surprise waiting for you. There's an angel there. There's like somebody, I don't know, but it's a gorgeous surprise. It's not anything to be afraid of, even though it may be triggering that response. And then what you have here next, which is so lovely, right? It's Page of Cups, right? Page of Cups, some sort of offering of love from this one, whoever they are. It might be a they. It might be a person. But it's a combination of like your guides are like your spirit guides are wanting you to step into this place because they're wanting you to see this surprise, whatever this thing or this person is. And then you have the Star and the Lovers. So all of this watery energy to sort of balance the fire is kind of what it is that you may be feeling. So if you're feeling a lot of watery energies, right? It's in order to balance and keep you still while all of this fire happens around you. It's kind of like that scene. Now I'm thinking of like, you know, that meme of the dog cartoon that's sitting in a room of fire. He's like, everything's okay. Everything is actually okay is kind of how this is feeling, what the message is for you. Everything is actually okay. Just sit still because there's a lot of change happening around you. And it's like, don't run from this, because if you run or if you try and make a change, you're going to be caught in that time loop again. The cycle's just going to repeat until you actually sit in that darkness for one more step is kind of how this is feeling. I don't know what that means or how that's going to play out for you in like a real reality kind of physical way. But it's just to almost like to like conquer your own fear, or like because it's like what's on the other side of this is something that you want, right? What's on the other side is what you've been trying to get out of. You have to get out of this time loop, right? You have to get out of this cycle. So you want to be on the other side of it, but it's like the last step is the scariest. The last step is the most difficult. But you have so much support here that you don't have to do this alone. You are going to make it through. And it's just to sit still, like for one more step, whatever that means. Okay, Virgo. I'm going to end it there. We're going to go the extended and talk about what else you might need to know about the situation. Link is in the description box below. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, leaving a comment. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.